So with the Trig graphs, we already did up to number 8 on Friday. So let's just check the last two answers, which are the more difficult answers. Well, not number 10, but number 9 is a more difficult answer. When I've gone through everything and I come to where is the F graph or the orange graph times the yellow graph smaller than 0. What does that mean in plain English? It must be negative. So for negativity, it means I've got to have a plus times a minus, or a minus times a plus. What does it mean in plain English? One must be above the x-axis and one
below.
One above and one below. In plain, simple English. So when we look at the graph, the one must be at the same time at the top of the x-axis, where the other one is at the bottom. So if I look at it from the left to the right, where's the one at the top where the other one is at the bottom? So it's going to be top and bottom up to 0. So from negative 90 up to 0. From negative 90 up to 0. So we write from negative 90 up to 0. If it says, was this included? Yes. Okay. If it says included, you kind of safe to always say included. But let's check if this is true for this sum. Especially if there are asymptotes, which there aren't because it's sin and cos. Then you've got to go check, is it so or not. Now remember, the product must be negative or it can be 0. In the place where I started, both of them is 1 plus, 1 minus, no problem. Where I finished, the one is 0, the one is 0,7, so it's going to be 0, so that's fine. Then both of them are at the top until where? 45 degrees, not 40, 45 degrees. Then the one is at the top and the one is at the bottom until where? From 45 to 5. From 45 to 225. Include both of them. Well, if you guess it, most probably you're going to be right. Let's see. In that point, the one is 0, the other one is not, so its answer is going to be 0, and it's fine if it's 0. For this one as well, the one is 0, the one is positive, so it's again going to be 0, and it can be 0. If it wasn't included, then I would exclude both of those. I would still include the minus 90, because it's not 0. I would still include the minus 90, all the rest would have been excluded. Last question for this sum, number 10 was, where is G, which is the yellow graph, and the yellow graph must be less than 0, meaning at the bottom of the x-axis. So where's the yellow graph at the bottom of the x-axis? 45 to 25. Included or excluded? Excluded. It says excluded there, let's check it out. There it was 0, so it's not below. If it's not below, it's on 0. So if it was included, you'd include both of them. And that was the end of that sum. Alright, let's make F, the one that you had for homework, the yellow one. So with the sin graph, what has got to happen? Now remember guys, you don't storm into a sum. It's everything on what you're thinking now. All the marks depend on what you're thinking now. This graph has a girl transformation as well as a boy transformation. The boy transformation says all the y's are added with 1. And all the x's are minus with 45. Excellent. But both of them must be true. So let's do it for the sin graph. So the sin graph, the first point, the x value must be minus with 45. So I'm going to be at minus 45 and 0. But then I've got to take that y on 0 and add it to 1. So where's the point going to be? Minus 45 and 1. Excellent. Step by step. Don't storm through it. Don't be too hasty. The second one was at 90 I must go 45 to the left. So it's on 45 and 1. But then I've got to still move it up with 1. So it's going to be 45 and 2. 45 and 2. Almost thinking I've got the pattern going, but rather make sure on another point. 180, move to the left is 135 on 0. 135 on 0, and then add it to 1. So it's 135 and 1. Are you seeing the pattern here?
Yes.
Is it still the same graph?
Yes.
Do you see it?
Yes.
It doesn't start on the normal space of 0, but you did it step by step. If you're not sure yet, rather take another one. 270, 45 to the left is 225 at minus 1. 225 at minus 1, but it moves up, so it's 225 on 0. I think we got it now. Where would be the next one? Would be at 350 and 1. Are you with me? Do you see it? Going 40. From there to there is 90, from there to there is 90, from there to there is 90, there to there is 90, and again to 90 to get you up to where? Back at 2 again. If you're unsure, rather do the step. Draw it a little further there and step by step go on again. And remember, it must be a sin graph still. Sin graph, cos graph. Don't they look alike? Yes. The sin graph is the cos graph if I move it 90 degrees to the left or to the right. So they have exactly the same shape, but they start on a different place. So on the left, can I go on? Another 90 further will bring me back to 0. Like that. You see me curving to go back up again. So this was F, the sin graph. The cos graph, what are the two things that you must do with the cos graph? Every y must be multiplied by a half, or in other words, half, divide by 2. And then the girl, the x's must be divided by 2. And the boys must be divided by 2, or my times with a half is the same. Are you with me? Yes. The y transformation times with the half. So all the y values that you used to have on the mother graph times with the half. So which one do you do first? The x or the y? Doesn't matter. On this point, if I divide the x value with 2, the x value is 0. So it still stays 0. But then the y value that used to be 1 is now times a half, which is a half. So that is at a half. That's my first point. Second point, at 90, divide the angle by 2, so you at 45. The y value that was 0 times anything will still stay 0. So you are on 45. Make double, triple sure. Third one was there at 180. Divide the angle by 2 will now be at 90. The y value that used to be at -1 is now going to be -1/2. So at 90, -1/2. And it kind of feels like they're all sitting the same distance from each other, so I'm thinking I'm on the right track. 270 halved is 135, and then the y value that was 0 times with anything still stays 0, so it's at 135. Do you see the cos graph? But what happened to this poor little thingy?
It shrunk.
It shrunk. Okay, so where will the next one be? 180 and a half. And then we're going to continue. So it's going to be at 225 and 0, and then again at 270. Are you with me, everybody? Right, so we're going on and on and on and on. Oopsie. And to the left? -45 and -90. Oopsie, up too low. -1/2 is closer to there. And then back up again there. And try your best. No, I wouldn't have deducted marks here, but it should have been a little bit more curvy. Make sure, because you get a mark for the shape. So it must be kind of okay. I would have said okay. Alright, it's not too bad. So for this one then, this is G. Let's get to the answers quickly. The amplitude of F, F being the yellow one. Amplitude of the yellow one is? 2. It's not 2.
But then there's a plus
amplitude of F is 1. It doesn't matter. Where do you see the amplitude? Before. front of the sin. What happened to this graph? It moved up. But where is resting position now? Still going one to the left, one to the top, one to the bottom. It's still an amplitude of 1. The maximum is 2. The minimum is 0, but the amplitude is still halfway between, which gives me 1 unit. You always see the amplitude over there, which is then 1. For G, what's the amplitude?
Half of 1.
You see it there?
Yes.
That it's a half. You want to write half or you want to write half, it doesn't matter. So, but you see that again, that this is resting. This graph didn't move up and down, so resting is still on the x-axis. The period of F, the yellow one. Period, did it change?
No.
It just moved to the left, but it didn't shrink or stretch. It's still going to be 360. Nothing happened to it. Every x moved 45 to the left, but that didn't change the period. For the period of G, the orange one, what did you do with all of your x's? So it's 360 divided by 2, which still gives me 180. And if you look at the graph, let me see a cos graph completely. From there to there, there's a full cos graph or pattern, and it took me 180. The domain of F would be where I told you to go sketch, otherwise the domain is all the real numbers. Do you agree? Please remember that the domain of a tan graph will always exclude all of the asymptotes. All right. For y, what is the range of G? Sorry, the y values of G range from, I like it, negative a half up to positive a half with smaller than signs. And do I include them? Yes. Because it goes up to and including those two values. Is it nice and easy now? Minimum and maximum values. Now for F, being the yellow one, the maximum would be 2. And the maximum, the minimum was 0. The minimum of F, the yellow graph, is 0. Maximum of G, the orange one, is a half. Good. Where are the graphs equal to each other? A few times, right? First of all, negative 135, and then I have to estimate my answer here. And it has to be between 135 and 180. It has to be. And depending on how curvy or how flat your graph has been drawn, mine looks kind of like maybe 160. Let's not make it too complicated for ourselves. Are you with me? And then I'm going to say I'm reading that off at A. I'm saying 160. And then there you don't say anything except 225, and that's it. That's the only pieces. So let's write it on. So where would that be? At negative 315. And say again.
135.
Oh, I'm writing dyslexic here. 135, and then it was at 160, Ram said, at A, and then also 225. If you want to be even more particular, you could have said, there's the A, there's the B, there's the C values. But I need to know at A is downwards there on the x-axis. So now where is F? I've changed it around. F is the yellow one below the orange one. So where is the yellow below the orange? Or equal, don't forget. Below or equal. Negative 135. Just that one little one. And where else is the yellow below?
160.
Okay, whatever you said, 160 up to 225. So it's between 160. In or out? Right, both of them. And is there another space where they're equal to each other? No, that's it. Where is the one times the other one negative? That means again, one at the top, one below. So top and below. And can it be equal? Yes. So again, the 135. Negative 135. And then also the, just again, yellow below, yellow and the orange one, okay? Yellow and orange one at the top and one below is from where to where? Oh, I should have left that one then, okay? It's from negative 35 up to negative 45. Sorry, I was looking wrong. Including, yes, both of them. Then they're both at the top, up to there. So from 45 to 135 again, do you agree? From 45 to 135 again, and both of them included. Do you agree? So one is below and the one is at the top. And then again, the one is below and the one is at the top. Over there from 2 to 5. 315 included. Is there not another place where they might be equal to 0? 405. Because the one is 0 times the other one will be 0, and it can be 0. So for just that one, it's exactly equal to 405. Can you imagine that you can easily miss that one? Easy. Alright, the last question, which is the easier one, is where the G graph, which is my orange graph, is underneath the x-axis, which is there and there and there again. And I'm almost too lazy to write it again, except for these are the three answers just without those equal signs. Are you with me? So it's negative 135, less than x, less than negative 45. 45, again, we just less than, and 225, and less than 315, because it's underneath. The orange one is underneath from there to there, there to there, there to there, but not equal to 0, so not equal to the axis, just in between.